I've never really been a big poetry reader, and so when I recently chose to read Above Ground by Clint Smith, that was a marked departure from what I am used to. However, I found this to be extremely accessible, especially through audio. I have found that whenever anything is written with a particular cadence and emphasis, like much of poetry is, listening through audio is the best way to go. This book was only 2 hours long on audio, and it was a gorgeous ode to fatherhood, as well as ruminations on the injustices and pains of the world and our nation at large. It flowed so beautifully between poems that were about the small minutiae of our day-to-day lives, especially as him becoming a father. Poems about what his wife looks like on a Saturday morning. These like small joys that are really the essence of what like make life worth living and fill our hearts and make us say, wow, it is like worth it to be here. And then it would swing to a poem about losing his childhood home in Katrina and the injustices of what people experience at the border, or even in the response to the people who lost their homes in Katrina and how they were portrayed by the media. It speaks to his experience as a Black man and raising his son. And it's not jarring, is the most surprising thing to me. It really is this beautiful ebb and flow throughout. For anyone who's wary of poetry, like I kind of am, this one really is super accessible. It's not heavy on rhyme. It doesn't have like a very strict cadence. It's almost like just his stream of thought in some ways. And I found it to read a little bit more like narrative than what I think of when I think poetry. That said, 5 stars. I really recommend this, especially to any new parent. I recommended it to a friend of mine who just had his second baby, and he said this was just the most beautiful recommendation, and he loved it. He devoured it in an evening while taking care of his kids. So Above Ground by Clint Smith, 5 stars.